Greetings, everyone. I'm Professor Joshua Johnson at Wisconsin Lutheran College, and I want to share with you how to create an informed consent for your Google form. So to begin with, I have a form right here that I've already set up, and I'm going to show you how it works, and then I'll show you how to create it. Basically, if I am taking this form, the very first thing that I get to is kind of my informed consent. It explains whatever it is. You might even have an entire page of this, and then they go to the next page in order to ask the question, do you want to participate? Basically, if a person wants to participate, they would click yes, hit next, it would take them to the survey. Perhaps when they're done with the survey, they can hit submit. Sometimes there's even more than one section in the survey, and I'll show you how to do that. If they click no, it is going to take them to a participation declined where they don't even have to submit this. They could simply walk away, close their browser, or if they kind of want that reassurance like, hey, I said I didn't want to take this survey, I hit submit, it's going to take them to the fact that, in this case, their response has been recorded. And the response they recorded was, I don't want to take this. All right, so how do we do that? I am going to create a new Google form and show you this from the very beginning. So typically when I have a Google form, most people will go in and say, oh, I'm just going to ask questions. So here they probably have already created your actual survey with all the different types of questions that you want to ask, multiple choice, Likert scales, etc. I'm just making 4 questions here that actually don't have anything in them just so that I can show them. Now, most of the time, the very first page that you want someone to come into, and let's say here, I'm going to call this my sample survey. All right. The very first page that you want someone to come into is that sample survey, and what I usually have is right away in here a text area. Whoops, and that went in the wrong spot. So let me jump back up here and hit the text area. You can always move these things if you want to, but this is just going to have informed consent with all of the things that I'm telling them like I had before. All right, you can even put a description. So the title of your survey, tell us about it, here's the informed consent, and I'm going to add one more question. At the very bottom here is, do you want to participate? The answers are, I'm going to add yes, and I'm going to add no. All right. So section 2, I'm going to call this survey part 1. I'm actually going to add another section after here and call this survey part 2 just to show the example. And at the very end of here, I'm going to add another section that is going to be participation declined. This one is just going to say you've elected not to participate. You can click the submit or simply close your browser. Now, how do I get from here to whichever section we want? That is done by going to the question, that multiple choice one, and under the settings on the bottom right hand section there is a go to section based on answer. Now, if somebody says I want to take the survey, I'm going to send them to the next section. Personally, I like to say specifically go to survey part 1 so that I know it's going there in case I have an extra section here. If they say no, it is going to send them to participation declined. That's it. What I am going to do after the participation, or after the survey part 2 though, is say, well, if you are going and finishing survey part 2, I don't want you to go to the participation decline. So after you're done with the last section of the survey, in this little area it says submit form. So now you'll see, based on this answer, it's going to jump. It's never going to get done with this section. You're either going to say yes and go to survey part 1 or no and go to the end. If you go to survey part 1, when you're done with this section, you'll continue to part 2. When you're done with this section, you'd submit the form. So that is how it works, and I will go ahead and preview this one as well. If you want to participate, you click next. It asks you the questions. You go through and answer all of the questions. When you're done, you submit. If at the very beginning you do not want to participate and you click next, it takes you to participation declined and you have the option to submit the form, or you can simply close your browser. That is how I arrange an informed consent option in a Google form, and I hope this has been helpful for you.